We got a best of 3 coming up. Game number 1 going to be Golden Pit. Game number 2 going to be on Step. And then we see game 3, Serengeti. I actually have not been spoiled, so I don't know how this is going to work out. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to this. For all of these matches, it's going to be a mirror match, mirror civs, and they're going to be played on the map pack, which contains a varied maps, and they are randomly selected from the map pack. So, let's go ahead and jump into game number 1. I don't want to keep you guys waiting for too long here. Let me just very quickly bring out the chat here. I want to throw out a big thanks to Robo and T West, as always, for helping with all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Much appreciated, guys. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into game 1. Okay, give us a moment while the streaming software picks up the game. It should be... There we go. It's here. All right, fantastic. And we should be ready to go right now. As long as I'm not messing anything up or forgetting anything, we are here with our very first game in the round of 16 qualification for the Age of Empires All-Stars League, which is going to be commencing for the next 2 months. I'm very excited. Only 4 players will advance from the qualification stage. And since this is round of 16, we have 32 hopeful players to get into the main event. So, our first match is going to be a best of 3 between Miguel and Vivi. We have Miguel up to the north of the map in the red, playing as the Aztecs, and his opponent today, Vivi, in the blue, down to the southeast here as the Aztecs as well. All of these qualification games are going to be random mirror civs on the map pack, which we've put together. And if you are interested in finding out more about the settings about this tournament, you can do that on the escape.gg website. And if you go to escape.gg/all-stars, you will get basically an overview of the event, all of the fixtures, all of the settings, everything you could ever need to keep up to date and keep track of what's going on in this tournament. The map going to be Golden Pit today. Golden Pit is a really fun map, actually, because unlike Gold Rush, even, there is a pit in the center of the map. And, geez, that is extremely bright, isn't it? I'm getting blinded by this ice right here as the light sort of hits it funny. But it means that holding the center of the map is a lot harder due to the fact that it is in this recess, and anything around the edge is going to have an attack advantage downhill. Players do have a small patch of 3 gold mines, as well as a secondary patch of 2 gold mines. So there is a little bit of gold to be had around their bases, but eventually they will, of course, have to fight for that center area, and that's where it gets really tricky. Now, Aztecs are a very staple civ, a civ that actually probably works quite well on this map as well, due to the fact it is very open. It's quite hard to wall off. And if you look at Vivi's map right here, I'll take a look at Miguel in a moment, but you can see that his berries are quite far forward, and he has no tree cover towards the center of the map here. It's completely open. So what he may want to do is eventually kind of make a choke point in towards his town center, like so, from this tree line and this tree line. But that does mean that his berries are going to be excluded out at the front, and his stone mine is going to be out at the front as well. Fortunately for Vivi, he has got a stone mine in the back, but it's incredibly open, and this is where it really works well to be an Aztec player and go for that 5 militia rush, which they are very well known for. A small change to the Aztecs, because we are on the HD edition, bear in mind. The Aztecs actually start with 150 gold now instead of loom, which means that you have to actually click the loom research. You don't get it automatically, but it is technically free since you do have the extra gold to start with. It adds a little bit of strategic variety, I guess. Players can decide to delay loom longer to get out some militia faster if they like, but generally speaking, you'll see players get the loom with the free 50 gold, and they go for that kind of standard 5 militia rush. On this map, I feel like drushing is certainly a good choice, just because of how open it is. But when we look at Miguel's map, he does have a lot more tree cover in front of his town center. So it's definitely going to be easier for him to protect his villagers here. He can sort of use these tree lines as a natural wall off towards the center of the map. And then he just has to worry about his flanks, which he can close up in time. So, I mean, I do like Miguel's map a little more. His berries are forward, his gold is forward, but it is much more easy to defend. And that deer patch is also very close to the berries as well. And, you know, it does kind of raise the question of, well, if your deer are this close, surely it makes sense to take the deer instead. And Miguel's going to do that right as I say it. So I think Miguel doesn't need to ask that question because he already knows the answer. Take the deer. It's much, much faster source of food income compared to the berries here. So having a quick look at Miguel, he's going to grab that second boar now. He is a little bit ahead of Vivi. Vivi's just bringing in his second boar a little bit later, and Vivi has loom as well, whereas Miguel does not. So Miguel is a whole villager ahead at this stage, and that means that he's got more resource income right now by one villager. Of course, he will get loom himself, but for the time being, his resource income going to be just a little bit higher right now for Miguel. He's also snooping around with his Eagle Scout, and bear in mind that also a change to the expansions is that the boar do more damage to scout units, and that means that they're much harder to steal. Although not impossible, it does just add an extra element of risk. And as Fiage once said, it's not an Eagle Scout, it's not a Scout Cavalry, it is a certified boar stealer. It's a boar stealing machine. And, you know, since these guys get extra line of sight compared to your Scout Cavalry, it's fairly common to see a boar steal attempt. And maybe Miguel was going to see what he could do there, but no dice for Miguel, and no dice for Vivi, as both players do get both of their boar in safely. And we've got Vivi with the barracks. Now, that's going to be scouted by Miguel immediately. He sees that coming up. He knows that Vivi could make some militia, but he also knows that that barracks is quite late, and it's more likely that perhaps we will see man-at-arms kind of play from Vivi here, because with the barracks going up quite lately, and with no militia actually being queued up, it does seem like we are going to see that kind of man-at-arms play instead, which does seem to be a little more popular these days. Now, Vivi's making the most of a bad situation with the map, that's for sure. He's kind of walled up towards the center of the map here to kind of make an enclosure, I guess, around his berries. He's also doing a huge wall off on the left-hand side, and if he closes that, I mean, it's going to give him a lot of safety here with this gold and this stone, and nice safe wood in the back as well, which is important. But it is going to take him quite a bit of time. It's going to cost him a lot of resources. These villagers aren't gathering anything while they're building the walls, and that means that economically, I feel like Miguel is going to be ahead here. Now, Vivi's actually quite late on these militia, to be honest. He's just making his third one now. He didn't click up to the feudal age first, so it does look like we're going to see the militia. And then if he keeps them alive, which he probably will, as Miguel does not have... Oh, wait, no, he does have a barracks, my bad. If he does keep them alive, he'll probably upgrade them to man-at-arms once he reaches the feudal age. Now, Miguel is much faster to feudal here, and he's doing what I thought Vivi was going to do, which is that kind of fast feudal into man-at-arms instead. He's already got the 2 villagers on the gold, he's already clicked up to feudal, and he's now started those militia production. He's got the gold to immediately click man-at-arms, and as Vivi comes in here, Vivi's going to look to do some damage before that man-at-arms upgrade completes for Miguel. Miguel here, bringing his villager into fight. He's getting quite low, but he's not at too much risk right now, as militia obviously do very little damage. And Vivi's quite late to bring his scout into the fight as well. Miguel now at the barracks. Man-at-arms is coming in, and he's going to want to keep these guys alive and keep as much health on them as possible, and that is exactly what he has done. This is really nice from Miguel. He's not lost a single point of health on any of these militia so far, and if you compare that to Vivi, he's just lost one, and we've got a couple here on the left side which have taken a few hits, but there's the man-at-arms upgrade, and Vivi's going to have to either run back or look to kind of counter-attack and rely on his walling back at home. So Miguel right now off to a good start. He's going to get the map control, and he immediately will switch into archer production. And with a map this open for Vivi, he'd better close it off, because he could be in trouble if he does not. A nice quick wall there on the left side of the berries, and he's going to try and close it off to the right at this tree line, like I kind of thought he might earlier on. He will continue to wall up, but losing access to the berries now a little bit. He's got 2 villagers there, and let's not also forget that in the Forgotten Empires and the expansions, these guys, these men-at-arms, they do bonus damage to buildings, and this mill is going down fast. Look at that. He repairs it now, and it's barely barely gaining health with these two villagers repairing it. Vivi has to keep Miguel out at all costs, and I wonder if Vivi here, what's his plan once he gets feudal? Is he just going to throw down 2 defensive ranges? Is he going to try and pull off a fast castle? Well, he's got a lot of villagers on gold, so it looks like he'll transition straight into archers. Meanwhile, he's over at Miguel's base. He will actually... Wow, I should not have said that. I thought he was going to find a villager kill, but no. This villager here walking back in with 4 health. Come on, Vivi. You just need 2 attacks on that guy, and he's going to die. 2 hits, that's all it takes, but he is in the wood line. He's doing quite a bit of damage. He's killed 1 villager, 2 villagers in there. And Miguel looks pretty sloppy, to be honest, as these villagers stand around idle. He's coming forward with a tower, though. And Vivi will try and get one up in defense. It looks like they'll come up about the same time, as Miguel does only have 3 vills building versus the 5 from Vivi. And Vivi here with the blacksmith, and I think I read that wrong because it doesn't look like he's making those ranges. With so many villas on gold, I thought he was going to put the ranges up, but with the blacksmith coming up right now, with no second military production building, it almost looks like he wants to fast castle this. And I'm still expecting a range to come up. But right now, it's looking messy for Vivi as he grabs these straggler trees. He's got a lot of villager walking, sort of walking distance. They're not being very efficient. And then we've got the range coming up on the left side. But with only 4 farms and no berries, he's not going to be able to pull off a fast castle here. So, yeah, I mean, I would have expected him to get the range up a little faster instead of the blacksmith. But he is now stone walling. So it does look like he wants to do that fast castle whilst making a few archers as well. But this is extremely defensive play from the Chinese player. And I think that fast castling here is probably not the best choice for him. But we'll see what happens as he does get this range up. He's trying to wall up pretty quickly as well. And in fact, will he get the range? I think that might even be denied here. As the archers come in and pressure that villager away. She wants to finish at 95%. She is going to complete. And he's going to continue to wall up on this right-hand side. But the archers from Miguel will prevent this wall off from happening. Or at least slow it down and damage these villagers as he sends more and more villagers in, archers in here. He's really looking for fletching now. That would be a really nice tech to have. But the wall is going to come up to a sufficient level where it will delay Miguel for some time. But even still, with the men-at-arms in there, they're doing good damage to the range. And we've got Vivi building some defensive skirms now. But still, I mean, it's 1 range versus the 2 from Miguel. Miguel's putting all the pressure on here. And I'm just so surprised to see Vivi building the blacksmith first instead of the range. I still think he should commit to a second range here. Otherwise, he is just going to get outproduced. And since the archers already have fletching as well, Vivi is not in a great position to even defend with skirms. He's completely outnumbered. And this range is going down. So Miguel's in a super strong position. He's got a great score lead. No pressure going on back at home at all. And Vivi's kind of scrambling now to get the defensive units out. And at risk of losing this range, especially now. Especially since this tower's come up. Another follow-up tower from Miguel. It's going to be GG. And that was a quick game from Miguel there. Playing it exactly right. Exactly right. Getting a quick feudal time, pressuring with the man-at-arms, following it up with 2 ranges, and Vivi maybe trying to be a little greedy with the fast castle because, I mean, that just wasn't going to work out. We already identified that his map was extremely open. We already identified that it was going to be a difficult wall-off for him. And just with 2 very, very nicely placed towers, the first tower denying the berries for a while, the second tower coming up on the gold, Vivi is going to lose the range, lose access to gold, and even though he's got quite a bit of gold in the bank, this is why I think he should have, in my opinion, gone for the second range, made archers. He could transition to the castle age quite comfortably anyway. But Miguel, keeping that pressure on, very nicely done. He's going to take the win for game number 1 here, and that was quite a quick one. That was quite convincing from Miguel, to be honest. That gives me a little bit of a worry for Vivi going to game number 2. But we'll see what he's made of, because maybe this isn't his kind of map. If we go back now between, looking at it head to head, we can see that next game is going to be Steppe, and it's another one of those very open maps, but it is a nomad start. Does make things just a little bit different, and we're going to be getting that game going very shortly. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back